The rain had started before sunset, but by the time Daniel Harper stepped out of the downtown cafe, the sky looked as shattered as he felt. Water slid down the glass walls of the building and blurred the city lights into trembling streaks of gold and gray. People hurried past with umbrellas and hurried hearts, yet Daniel stood frozen near the entrance, as if the cold wind had pinned him to the sidewalk. Only moments earlier, he had experienced the kind of humiliation that leaves no bruises, but somehow hurts more than broken bones. For months, Daniel had admired a woman named Vanessa, a confident marketing executive who often visited the cafe where he worked evening shifts after finishing his construction job. She was polished, successful, and impossibly distant from the world Daniel inhabited. As a 34-year-old widowed single father struggling to raise his daughter while balancing two jobs, he never truly believed someone like Vanessa would notice him. But people at the cafe encouraged him. They said she smiled at him differently. They teased him whenever she came in. Somewhere between exhaustion and quiet hope, Daniel allowed himself to dream. Tonight. That dream had been crushed in front of strangers. Vanessa had arrived with friends. Someone jokingly revealed Daniel's feelings before he could stop them. Instead of responding with kindness, she laughed. The sound had not been cruel at first, only surprised, but then came the words that seemed to slice through the cafe air. She openly questioned how a struggling single dad who smelled of sawdust and coffee could ever imagine he belonged in her world. Her friends laughed too. Phones appeared. Embarrassment spread across Daniel's face like fire. He remembered every detail with painful clarity: the scraping chairs, the ringing cups, the uncomfortable silence from coworkers who did not know whether to defend him or look away. Daniel walked out before anyone could say more. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories that remind us of the power of compassion. Rain soaked through Daniel's jacket as he made his way home to Maple Street, a neighborhood caught somewhere between forgotten and surviving. Old duplex houses leaned toward each other like tired friends. Paint peeled from porches. Streetlights flickered with stubborn determination. Daniel's home was small, rented, and constantly demanding repairs he could barely afford. Yet one warm light always waited for him: his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. She sat by the front window, wrapped in a blanket when he entered. Her dark curls framed a face too thoughtful for her age. Since losing her mother 3 years earlier to illness, Lily had learned to read sadness the way other children read picture books. Daniel forced a smile. But children who have known grief see through masks quickly. Lily hugged him before he could remove his wet jacket. She said nothing about his red eyes or trembling hands. She simply held him. That hug nearly broke him. Daniel carried guilt like a permanent shadow. He worried constantly that Lily deserved more than a father who worked endless hours and still struggled with bills. He missed school events, forgot grocery items, and sometimes fell asleep sitting at the kitchen table while helping with homework. The world praised hard work, but hard work did not always protect people from loneliness. That night, Lily quietly made him tea exactly the way her mother used to. Daniel sat across from her in the cramped kitchen while rain tapped against the windows. He eventually admitted someone had embarrassed him. Lily listened with solemn eyes and surprised wisdom. She reminded him that people who make others feel small often carry emptiness inside themselves. Her voice was gentle but certain, and Daniel wondered how someone so young had become his greatest source of strength. Their neighbor next door had moved in only weeks earlier. Sophia Bennett. Most of Maple Street knew little about her except that she drove an elegant black car and kept unusual hours. Some assumed she was wealthy. Others guessed she was merely passing through before moving somewhere better. Daniel paid little attention. His life left little room for curiosity. What he did not know was that Sophia Bennett was the CEO of Bennett Urban Development, a company whose project shaped large portions of the city skyline. Newspapers described her as brilliant, demanding, and fiercely private. After a painful divorce and public business controversy, Sophia had temporarily retreated from luxury districts and media attention. Maple Street offered anonymity money rarely bought. Sophia noticed Daniel long before he noticed her. She often saw him leaving before sunrise, and, returning long after dark, She noticed how he carried groceries and tools at once, how he fixed neighbors' fences without asking for payment, and how Lily raced to greet him every evening, despite his exhaustion. One stormy Saturday morning, Daniel climbed onto his porch roof to repair leaking shingles. Bills had piled up again. Hiring professionals was impossible. The ladder slipped. His foot lost balance. For one terrifying second, gravity claimed him. He fell hard onto wet grass. Pain shot through his shoulder. Before he could gather himself, someone was beside him. Sophia. She had rushed over without hesitation, rain soaking her expensive coat. Her concern felt immediate and real, rather than polite. Daniel tried to downplay the injury, embarrassed by his situation and instinctively defensive around strangers who appeared successful. Sophia insisted on helping anyway. That was the beginning. Over the following days, she occasionally checked on him. Sometimes she brought soup for Lily. Sometimes she asked practical questions about neighborhood repairs or local shops. Nothing dramatic happened. No instant friendship bloomed. Yet Daniel gradually noticed her warmth beneath her composed exterior. Sophia noticed his resilience. One evening, the neighborhood lost power during another storm. Darkness swallowed Maple Street except for candlelight flickering behind windows. Sophia knocked carrying board games and flashlights. Lily adored her immediately. The three spent hours laughing in Daniel's living room while rain pounded outside. Lily talked endlessly about school dreams and imaginary inventions. Daniel watched Sophia laugh at childish stories and realized she looked less like a corporate executive and more like someone carrying hidden loneliness. For Sophia, those hours felt strangely healing. Her life usually revolved around meetings, negotiations, and expectations. People wanted access to her influence or feared disappointing her. Genuine connection had become rare, but inside Daniel's modest home, no one cared about headlines or titles. He simply treated her like a neighbor. Weeks passed. Daniel never mentioned the cafe incident again, though its sting lingered. Videos of the humiliation had circulated online briefly before fading into the endless tide of internet distractions. Still, shame remained lodged inside him. He became quieter, Sophia noticed. One evening, she found him repairing Lily's bicycle in the yard. The sunset painted Maple Street amber and gold. Something in Daniel finally opened. He admitted, feeling inadequate. He confessed how easy it was to believe cruel opinions when life already made you feel behind everyone else. He spoke about widowhood, grief, and the strange exhaustion of pretending strength every day. Sophia listened without interruption. She did not offer cliches. Instead, she shared fragments of her own pain, years of public pressure, a marriage destroyed by betrayal and ambition, business partners who valued profit more than integrity. Success had given her recognition, but not peace. That conversation changed something. Not romance. Not yet. Not yet. Soon, Sophia became part of their rhythm. She attended Lily's school fundraiser. Daniel helped her repair old furniture she had inherited from her grandmother. Lily declared them an accidental team. And for the first time in years, Daniel felt life growing lighter. Then came the community fundraiser. Maple Street needed donations to restore a neglected playground. Sophia quietly sponsored much of the event, but avoided publicity. Daniel volunteered reluctantly. Crowds still made him uneasy after the cafe humiliation. The fundraiser drew far more attention than expected. Local media attended after learning Sophia Bennett might appear. Daniel had no idea. He spent the afternoon arranging chairs and repairing decorations while Lily painted signs with neighborhood children. Then he saw familiar faces, Vanessa, and several friends from the cafe. The sight tightened his chest instantly. Apparently, their marketing firm had partnered with event organizers. Old embarrassment surged back like floodwater. Vanessa recognized him too. This time, her expression carried surprise rather than mockery. Daniel considered leaving. He almost did, but Lily ran toward him, covered in paint and smiling proudly about the playground mural she had finished. He stayed for her. As speeches began, whispers spread about Sophia's presence. Cameras gathered. Then organizers invited Sophia Bennett onto the stage. Gasps moved through the crowd. Vanessa looked stunned. Daniel stood motionless as his quiet neighbor addressed the community. She spoke not about business success, but about dignity, neighborhoods, and the unseen strength of ordinary families holding each other together. Then Sophia did something unexpected. She publicly thanked Daniel Harper. She described how he had helped neighbors without seeking recognition, repaired homes despite his own struggles, and raised a compassionate daughter who inspired everyone around her. The crowd applauded. Daniel felt heat rise into his face. Sophia's voice remained calm, but sincere as she spoke about how society often overlooks people whose greatest achievements never appear in headlines. Vanessa stared in disbelief. For the first time, Daniel saw embarrassment in her eyes. But what happened next mattered even more. Sophia walked from the stage and stood beside him, not above him. Beside him, and Lily slipped her small hand into Daniel's. In that moment, Daniel understood something life had been trying to teach him all along. Worth is not measured by income, status, or public approval. It is measured by love, character, and the quiet ways we lift others while carrying our own pain. The applause continued, but Daniel barely heard it. He looked at Lily and realized she had rescued him long before anyone else did. Sophia had simply helped him see it. The fundraiser ended beneath a sky finally clearing after weeks of rain. Children played beneath string lights. Neighbors shared food and laughter. Vanessa approached later, seemingly wanting forgiveness or explanation. Daniel listened politely but without bitterness. The wound remained, yet anger no longer controlled him. Some hurts do not disappear. They simply stop defining us. Months later, the Maple Street playground reopened. Bright swings replaced rusted frames. Murals covered old walls. Families filled the park. Daniel had accepted a supervisory role with better pay through connections. Sophia helped him discover, though she never treated it as charity. She believed in his skills and pushed him to believe too. Life was still imperfect. Bills still existed. Grief still visited unexpectedly, but hope had returned. And sometimes, hope is the beginning of everything. Before we reach the ending, here is a special request for you. Comment below with one word that describes what this story made you feel. On opening day at the playground, Lily climbed the tallest structure and waved down at Daniel and Sophia standing together below. The sunset wrapped Maple Street in soft gold. Daniel realized happiness had not arrived through dramatic miracles or sudden fortune. It had entered quietly through compassion, resilience, and people who chose kindness when cruelty would have been easier. Sophia stood beside him, no longer merely the CEO neighbor next door, but someone who understood his scars and respected his strength. And Lily, the little girl who had watched her father break and rise again, smiled with fearless joy. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to support more stories that celebrate healing, love, and second chances. Because sometimes the people who save us are not superheroes. Sometimes they are daughters holding our hands, and neighbors who remind us we were never broken beyond repair.